Hey everybody, it's your boy J Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation. Welcome to the Kratos Underground Presents the Godcast, episode number 2. Thank you guys for rocking out with me today. I hope you guys had a great E3 this week. And I just want to take 30 minutes of your time, talk about a couple of subjects, let you know what I think about it. Before we get started, I just want to, give a shout out to the Greatness Podcast. That's another one of my podcasts that I'm on with my co-host, Supersonic Wolf. We always keep that thing jamming, keeping it live, always speaking the facts, and bringing you guys, new content. Shout out to Cal L and the Tick Podcast. My boy Sean Fox at Foxy News UK. My boy Randall Thor at the I love his Rand's Rants. And those are the guys I want to thank. Let's tell you what. Let's talk about what I thought about this year's E3. I would rate it a solid 7. And I'm going to give it a 7 because there was nothing that really just made me jump out of my chair. When you try to compare it to last year's E3, I knew going in it was going to be a little bit underwhelming, but it was still going to be pretty good. And so, I want to give Microsoft, I'd give them a solid C plus on their show. I'll even give them a B. I'll give them a B because they came out and they gave it with whatever they had. They threw it out there. I wish it was a little bit more, but it is what it is. They could have fallen flat on their face, but they didn't. Sony, as usual, they try to knock it out the box. You can tell these guys were holding back. They wanted to make this E3 about one of their biggest games, and that's the one that they showed the most gameplay, and that's Spider-Man. They finished with that. So they finished out strong. I think everyone was amazed at Spider-Man. The animation, the fidelity of the graphics, just all the stuff you can do in it. It looks beautiful. I can't wait for that game to come out next year. Obviously, God of War, stole a lot of thunder from it. Days Gone was another honorable mention from there. So Sony has a pretty good lineup coming forward. And keep in mind, these are all exclusives. Shockingly, Nintendo shocked me. Obviously, their conference was just supposed to be 30 minutes. And the bulk of the time, we just kind of knew that they were going to talk about this Mario Odyssey. And that wasn't the case. These guys came out with hits after hits after hits. And these are some games that I didn't know were coming out. These guys, they showed Kirby. These guys are working on Kirby. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, Kirby's for kids. Well, it is, but I can't wait to play it on the Switch. Obviously, we had the Mario and the Rabbids game that's coming out, and that was something that I didn't know about until the Ubisoft showing. So that was really surprising. And then when these guys showed Metroid 4, I think a lot of people, jaws dropped at that. That was something totally, it wasn't leaked. And that's one thing I like about this year's E3 is there wasn't a lot of stuff that leaked. And the stuff that tried to leak, the rumors, all of them was false. I've heard all kind of stuff from the Sony side, Microsoft side, and Nintendo. And everybody was wrong on every single count. So, I appreciate that. Shouts out to those companies for holding their cards close to their chest. And what other games Nintendo? Obviously, they showed some Xenoblade. They showed they showed so many games that I just, it's kind of hard for me to say. I didn't really expect much, but I got a lot from them. And a lot of these games, guys, they're releasing in 2017. 2017. In 2 days, we have ARMS, and that game is going to sell like hotcakes. We have ARMS. Splatoon 2, that's going to sell next month like hotcakes. So, shout out for Nintendo for not, throwing all their games out at one time and having it dry the rest of the year. They're sprinkling it out once a month. And I think Sony kind of laid that groundwork this year for them. Sony started off strong with dropping 3-4 games a month, exclusives, by the way, a month to its fans, and basically oversaturating them and shutting them up for the first half of the year. And now they're going to finish strong. Um, and I'm going to go into the best game showing of E3. Bar none. I loved what I saw with Mario Odyssey. I love what I saw, on Microsoft stage, with, with the Metro game and the, they had a bunch of multi-plat games. I was really hoping that they would come out with some exclusives. It seems like the only exclusive that they came out with was Ori and the Blind Forest, which, obviously has also come out on PC. But I'll give them that. A lot of people like those games. It is what it is. I enjoyed the first one. I'll definitely get the second one. They had a pretty strong lineup. But the best game showing, I just have to tip my hat to Spider-Man. Obviously it's the world's most known character, next to Mickey Mouse. But the animation, the graphics, it just blew me away. I knew what I was expecting with the developer. I knew Sony was going to knock it out the park. I knew the PlayStation 4 Pro was going to make sure that thing shined in all its glory, and it did. It did. So I'm going to give that the best game, the best showing. I really love the the Titanfall meets Mass Effect game. I really like that, but at the end of the day, come on, it's Spider-Man. It kind of wins by default, and if Spider-Man wasn't there, I'm pretty sure that Mario Galaxy would win by default. It's kind of one of those things. But everyone had a pretty decent showing. I think EA had the weakest one, and that's the company that I'm going to choose to get the crying Jordan face of E3. EA. Their show was. What do we expect from EA? We're gonna get their sports title. We're gonna get their Madden. We'll be lucky to get an NBA Live if they don't cancel it, which are always rated 4s and 5s out of 10. So, wishing those guys luck with that. But yeah, EA, they get the crying Jordan face of E3 this year, 2017. I don't think many people are gonna deny that. And we're gonna talk a little bit about some major surprises. I think everyone knew what Sony and Microsoft had coming. Nintendo, it was kind of a mishmash, and we knew some stuff that they announced originally. But once these guys showed that screenshot of Metroid 4, I think that was the most surprise. That was the biggest surprise of the game. Of the event. As much as I love Shadow of Colossus, and I can't wait for that game, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be top notch. Metroid 4 is the game that folks are gonna flock to. And I had my suspicion. Out of all of these companies, something just told me that Nintendo is already the underdog. Something just told me that these guys may turn around and and bring an upset to Sony and Microsoft. And sure enough, while I didn't think they got first place, I think they got second place. Matter of, I'd give them neck and neck with Microsoft. I really liked Microsoft conference because my expectation for them wasn't really high. I know that they have very little amount of studios. We knew we were going to get a Forza. You can count on your hand, like clockwork. You can look at your watch and what kind of game is going to come out from Microsoft. And give or take, it is what it is. It just is what it is. But Nintendo, announcing Metroid 4 and some of their other games is, I have the Switch and I'm continuously impressed. These guys really know how to impress me. And, I can't honestly say Nintendo is one of those companies where when they release a game, they're the only company that can make you feel like you're 8 years old again. Like you're blowing in those cartridges and slamming them down trying to get that old NES working. They are that type of company. They have the IPs that will, it's that nostalgia IP. And all of these games are great. They're not just good, they're great. They're timeless, they're classics. Everyone remembers Mike Tyson Punch Out and Double Dribble, Tecmo Bowl, all the Mario Brothers, all the Contras, all of those games just bring you back to that age when you were, 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old. And that's one thing about Nintendo is they keep that character, as much as people like them to grow up and compete against Sony and Microsoft, the graphical fidelity and the power and all of that stuff. Nintendo has continued to show you that it's not about power. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's all about the games. You can have fun no matter how old you are, no matter how young you are. And, and they came out with that Metroid 4 and they showed, some Kirby. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play that game. And they even had, a couple of third-party games in there. The FIFA. Can't wait for that. I'm definitely going to get that. Being able to play, FIFA on the go. You can't be mad at that. And eventually, you know what? The developers are going to say, hey, look, we can't keep keeping this console on the sideline. These guys are selling. They're what's hot right now. We have to cater to that. So I think Nintendo's going to be, I think they're going to be okay. I think once they get some more Switches in stock for the holiday season, they're definitely going to sell like gangbusters. But I tip my hat to Nintendo this E3. While I don't think this was the best E3 ever, I think that, to me personally, has to go to last year with Sony. And they've already said, Shuhei Yoshida had already said that they held back some of their games. We know that they have their big conference, their own personalized PlayStation experience 2017. And your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, will be in the house. I will be there. I'm booking my tickets and just going to be ready. Wasn't able to make it to E3 this year, but there's always next year. But there's a lot of YouTubers that I like, that I watch their content. I like what they saw, got their opinions on it, and these guys are going to be coming back home and cutting their videos and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm overall, I would give this E3 a solid C. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Ubisoft are coming out with some really good games. The Crew 2 looks to kind of redeem itself from that first one. But that's all a part about, that's a part about gaming, where you can have a game and it may not, knock the roof off, but you try again and you just never know what you're going to get. Look at the Uncharted. That first game did not blow the socks off of anyone, but it was able to get a sequel that did. And now it's, it's in the Hall of Fame. It's in the Hall of Fame. Well, I thank you guys for rocking out with me today. Keep my Godcast short, to the point. That way I can do more of these, and I am going to start doing them more often. I want to try this format. I'm always on the, on the other podcasts and stuff like that, but I wanted to try something short, sweet, something that I can do without it being, rehearsed, without having anything, something kind of impromptu. And hopefully you guys like it. It's something that, you can rock out with, and I won't take much of your time. You know what it is. And I want to, before I get out of here, I want to give some shout outs. Let's shout out to my boy Jay Bari, my boy OBJ the Dunn. I rock out with him. My boy Southbound, seeing him, giving some stuff over at E3. Shout out to One Stop for Gamers, my boy Porter Rock. See you when you get back, man, in July. And my boy Psycho Gamer. I like chopping it up with him, man, going back and forth on Twitter and stuff like that. And he joins Craig's podcast. So you guys make sure you you watch these guys' videos, you like and subscribe. And last but not least, my boy Supersonic Wolf, man. Make sure you watch his podcast and our joint, the Greatness Podcast. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I thank you guys for rocking out with me and just getting my opinion of some of the stuff that went on at E3. Thank you. Peace.